everybody. Welcome to the Mission Discovery Missions Minute. I'm Haley Hofstetter, and I'm going to be your host today. And today we have on Chris Chandler, who lives in Ormond Beach, just outside of the Daytona Beach area, and we're going to ask him some questions about Hurricane Milton and some of the effects that hurricane has brought to his area. So, Chris, thanks so much for being on the Missions Minute today. Can you just start off by just telling us a little bit about Milton and how it has affected you and how it has affected the surrounding communities?
Milton it entered in the state just south of Tampa, came up the I-4 corridor, and when it got to around the Daytona Beach area, there was a unique kind of situation with the storm that it collapsed right around Daytona. And when that happened, it pumped higher winds into Daytona and Ormond Beach and East Volusia County than it had in even the heart of Orlando. I believe we had wind gusts up to about 110, 115 miles an hour. And you get winds that strong, and it's going to cause some damage to buildings, to homes, to infrastructure. And that's what we've experienced, and that's what we're still recovering from.
Yeah. I know that Hurricane Helene happened just a little bit before Hurricane Milton. So when two hurricanes like this happen back to back, what are some of the effects that you see from that, and how does it change how people respond?
I think pretty quick. When Helene hit, it impacted the full panhandle of Florida, the west coast of Florida, the most. But even looking toward the east coast of Florida and Daytona, we still received winds of 60, 70 miles an hour, still quite a bit of rain. It just soaked the ground with water. And so we had essentially 2 weeks of heavy rains before Milton even came on the scene. Yeah, as I mentioned, typically when storms come, they're earlier in the season. And so after Helene hit, for the most part, folks in Florida thought, okay, that's us done for the season. And so, in some ways, Milton, I think, caught some folks off guard. And so 2 weeks ago, Milton hit, and there's still areas that are impacted by flooding. All the riverways, it can take over a month for the waterfront areas inland to drain. And there's still many homes that are underwater. And folks waiting for the water to recede. That takes time. And unfortunately, in the midst of that, having water sit in your house for that long, you begin to get mold buildup, and it pretty much totals the home, where the home has to be completely gutted and rebuilt.
For those of you who don't know, Chris is a project coordinator for Mission Discovery. And so Chris, each year, is bringing teams already to Daytona Beach to do different projects. And so, Chris, I imagine that we have teams coming to Daytona next year, and there's a plan in place to help those who have been affected by Hurricane Milton. So could you just tell us a little bit about what's in the works with that and what you imagine that looking like?
The bulk of our work in 2025 will be helping residents and potentially a church or two, and they're rebuilding. The immediate needs of gutting houses and other structures will be taking place sometime this autumn, but then folks need to rebuild, and that's where Mission Discovery steps in. Putting walls up, reflooring homes, maybe helping with some re-roofing, some exterior work to get people back in their houses, to be displaced, to be homeless for months and months on end. Has a great psychological effect on families. And so our hope is to reduce that for the families that we're able to help and get them back to their homes as quick as possible.
Well, Chris, thank you for talking about this today. I'm glad that you are situated in such an opportune area, that we are able to help these people, and that you just have insider knowledge a little bit. You kind of experiencing a little bit of that flooding and things on your own. So thank you for making those connections for us so that Mission Discovery is prepared to get involved later on down the road when it's time for that rebuilding process.
Thank you, Haley.